What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we'll be reviewing Port Adelaide's clash against Gold Coast from Shanghai. Let's have a look and see exactly how the game panned out and who was the best on the day. Well, Port fans, it was a scrappy, sluggish slog. That's the best I can describe this game as. It was just one of those games where it was something that could just not really be anything in terms of a spectacle. It was just a hard game for the players, hard game to watch for the crowd, and for the record attendance of 10,600 plus that attended. It was a game that's probably not going to be watched again by anyone ever, but the record attendance, I think, was around over, not attendance, audience, it was over 10 million across the world, so that's a good turnout, even though the game itself didn't live up to any expectation at all. Of course, it was Port versus Gold Coast. It wasn't going to be something huge. Gold Coast brought the fight. They were gallant early, but I think the game turned out the way it was going to. If Port Adelaide kicked straight, it would have been a bigger blowout, 10 goals more, but just couldn't hit the target in those conditions. So it was a very tough game for both sides, and I think at the end of it, it's a win, and Port Adelaide can take that away into the buyers' momentum. 6-3 now, going towards what's going to be a very good run home. It's a very picky run home, and what I mean by that is the fact that we've got teams that we're going to beat, we should beat, and there's going to be teams that are right up there and really test our credentials going forward as a top 4 team or as a top 8 team. So obviously after the bye, we've got Hawthorn in Tasmania. Then you've got the 3 big games. You've got Richmond on Friday night, the Bulldogs on a Thursday night, and Melbourne on a Friday night, all at home. Those games are huge in terms of the big June rounds that we've got. We've got to win all 3, I think. But we'll get to that when that comes. For this moment, this game, the conditions changing before the game didn't help this whole spectacle at all. The first quarter was very exciting. 5 goals 5 to 4 goals 2. A lot of goals scored. It was very good for the crowd involved at Shanghai Stadium. But I think once the rain came across and it started to settle in a bit more, the ground became dewy. It was a slog, and it was a wet weather game, and it was something that I don't think it's going to be brought up again. But it doesn't damage the credentials that the AFL has, moving to Shanghai, moving to China, and broadening the game beyond Australia. And maybe not producing something from other countries, but at least showcasing this is our game, this is our culture, this is Australian rules footy, and this is who we support. It's not something where we bring other countries in or all that. It's just showcasing our great sport, like other sports around the world do. And it's going to take time to build, but at this stage, Port Adelaide have done a very successful job. And to anyone that's bragging or damaging that brand that Port Adelaide are trying to bring across, get stuffed. And I'm talking about the media, because this whole thing is a big risk for the club, but they've taken that risk. Koshi, KT, the boys that have travelled over, everyone involved, everyone that's outside of the media is looking and is interested in getting involved. And there's just the media that are just bagging the shit out of it because they've got nothing better to do, and they don't know why, because they don't want their Victorian VFL league to be touched by anyone outside of their pathetic state. It's as simple as that. So it was a great risk by Port, yes, but it's paying off, I reckon, and it's going to pay off with all the news that have come in of the Shanghai cred that's come in now. All this announcements pre-game yesterday. It's just a wonderful thing that the club is doing, and it's going to be great to see. But for now, gone off topic again. We're going to have a look at the game itself. As I said, our kicking was deplorable. Mostly going at goals. 11 goals 16 after last week. 14 goals 11. Sam Gray, Chad Wingard 3 behinds. Robbie Gray 3 behinds. Obviously Wingard and Sam Gray hit the scoreboard as well with a couple of goals each. Sam Powell-Pepper was the big one, running in straight at goal, and he misses it to the right. He had a great game yesterday. 26 disposals and 10 tackles in the middle. And the midfield itself were fantastic to right across the ground. I thought they really fought hard with their defensive acts and their attacking plays as well. Pity it wasn't produced well on the scoreboard, but nonetheless. And the big one here, the big stat, Rocky and SPP combined over the last 2 weeks for 106 disposals. 53 of those have been contested possessions. Half of their disposals are contested possessions. And yesterday it was showcased again. Sam Powell-Pepper having 17, Rockcliffe having 13, 30 contested possessions. Port Adelaide took out the contested possessions by, I think, like 40, plus 40 or something like that. No, plus 20, sorry. I think it was 179 to 158. So 21 in their way, 179 contested possessions in what was a wet game, 83 to 82 tackles. Very even game across the stats. But I feel, Port Adelaide's harder edge, and they're just the continual pressure to put it inside 50, and that scoreboard pressure going into the second half was a lot more. Was a lot better for momentum, and we saw that from certain players like Travis Boak, who were just sensational again. And how good of a year is he having, the skipper? He's averaging 24 disposals for the year. He's got 7 goals on the board, and he's very potent now across that half-forward line. He's really loving his role, which is good to see from the skipper. But yeah, overall, this game was nothing really you can take from it. We're 6-3. We're going into the bye now, and it's a game of footy that probably will never be spoken of again. Real hard one to digest because you can't really tell how good of a side's going from that type of game. Just got to celebrate what it was. Once again, the defence was brilliant yesterday. Tom Jonas was absolutely superb. 10 marks down back and having 16 disposals himself. Darcy Byrne-Jones was awesome with his 26 touches. 22 kicks of those as well, setting up the play across that centre line and coming across the half-back flank as well, which was good to see from DBJ. He's had an up and down year, but it's good when he is on. Port Adelaide seems to be on as well, so well done to DBJ as well. So that's a couple of good players and a couple of good standout performances yesterday, but nothing too flashy from Port. It's just a 4-point win. The 4 points we got. That's as simple as that. A win's a win in tough conditions in Shanghai. The boys can celebrate for a bye now, and we move on and have a look at our Champion of the Week. So our Champion of the Week goes to none other than Sam Powell-Pepper. 26 disposals. 10 tackles, 2 goals. Should have had 3. 17 contested possessions and 7 clearances. SPP was awesome yesterday, and his goal at the end to finish off what was an interesting game, to say the least. It's brilliant. Well done, SPP, your Champion of the Week. Alright, Port fans, it's time for the votes now. As we know, the pair votes, 5 votes for a win, 3 votes for a loss. 5 votes. Let's go from 1 to 5. Tom Jonas gets 1 vote this week. He was awesome. The general in our defence, 16 disposals, 10 tackles. Looked like a bit of an injury with his shin later in the game, and also getting a hard knock early. But he fought his way through the game brilliantly and was just great across the back line. So well done to Tom Jonas. He gets the 1 vote. 2 votes goes to Ollie Wines. He was sensational again yesterday. 26 disposals and a goal. Combining that with 5 marks, 3 tackles, and 16 contested possessions, which was 11 contested possessions, but 4 clearances as well. So the man that just keeps being consistent lately, he's been fantastic. So he gets the 2 votes, and the pig, 3 votes goes to Tom Rockcliffe. 26 disposals, 1 goal, 7 tackles, 2 marks, and 13 contested possessions. Combine that with 6 clearances. He's back. The pig's back. Simple as that. He also had 106 fantasy points for you fantasy lovers out there. 3 votes goes to Tom Rockcliffe. He's having a stellar couple of games lately. 4 votes goes to Sam Powell-Pepper. 26 disposals, 10 tackles, 2 goals, 17 contested possessions, and 7 clearances, as I mentioned. He was superb yesterday, and his best game, arguably, for the club, I feel. He's been awesome coming back since his little incident that happened earlier in the year. And we just keep winning with him. 5 games he's played this year, 5 wins. It's just awesome to see him playing some good footy, and it's good to have Rocky and SPP bring brilliant in the middle. 5 votes goes to the skipper. A little bit of biasness because I do love Travis Boak, as I've confessed before. But to say the least, Travis Boak, 5 votes. He gets 29 disposals, 6 tackles, 5 marks, 1 goal, 16 contested possessions, and the most clearances from 8 in the middle, which since he's playing that half-forward role, he's really dominating, and he's stood up in a game that the club needed him to stand up in, showcase to the Chinese fans that this is our skipper, and he's becoming Basically a legend of the club now. He's awesome to watch, and it's good to see him back in good form. So well done to the skipper, who's having an awesome year, and he gets your Pair Best Player of the Week. Well, Port fans, that wraps up this round 9 review of Port Adelaide versus Gold Coast. Thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you very much for everyone on Spreaker listening as well. It's always great to have everyone on Spreaker tuning in. Thanks to Port Fan Radio. Don't forget the Portrait podcast on Port Fan Radio, 8 PM Wednesday night. We'll review and dissect this game and look ahead into the bye and see. We'll reflect on the first 9 games of the year, as will I. So subscribe to the channel if you are new for plenty more Port Adelaide content coming your way for the rest of the season. Thank you very much as well for 700 subscribers. We're moving along quite nicely with 1,000 now. So get your friends onto it. And obviously go the power. So thank you very much for watching, Port fans. My name is Anthony, and as always, on the pair.